Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lilu Nishmas Imirosi Usmas Mordechai. And Lilu Nishmas the Golador. There will be, or there won't be, any emails today as a sign of Avelos. I just want to say a few words about Reb Chaim. As people are going right now, right in front of my house, there's maybe 20 buses lined up and people are running to the buses. And I think since 2 o'clock in the morning, we're getting messages, can't even get into the city since 2 o'clock. So we're going to make a shtadlus after Shir. Those who davened already are going to go after Shir. We're going to make our shtadlus. I don't know how far we'll get, but we'll go. Reb Chaim learned Kol HaTorah Kula every single year. He learned Bavli, Yerushalmi, Safra, Sifri, Medrash, Haggadah, everything, every year. I don't know how accurate this is, but I was told that we all know he made a siyum on Erev Pesach every single year. This year, because it's an Ibiyar, this extra month, he made a siyum on Purim, the day before his niftar. Finished Kol HaTorah Kula for the final time, the day before he was niftar. Reb Chaim Kanievsky didn't inherit his gadlus. He worked for every ounce. Yes, he was the son of the stipler, and he was a nephew of the Chazon Ish, and his father was Reb Elyashiv, and his Eidim, his Mechutanim were Rav Shteiman, and who else? Rav Zilberstein is his brother-in-law, but he worked for every ounce that he had in this world. He wasn't born with a tremendous memory and a kishrin to remember Shas. He worked really, really hard. And I think the lesson is that every single one of us could achieve greatness if we put our minds to it. He outworked everybody in the generation, basically. I don't know everybody, but whoever I know, he outworked them. He's also, every time I went there, you saw more Hasidim and more Sfardim than Ashkenazim inside the room. He was accepted upon everybody. He never got involved in politics. So, Klal Yisrael will never be the same. When the Chavetz Chaim was nifter, so a lot of people were depressed. Chavetz Chaim, what are we going to do without the Chavetz Chaim? I forgot which Gadol was, got up and said, Bonim atem Lashem. And that's very significant to today. And I'll tell you why it's on today's daf, this pasuk. Bonim atem Lashem. That we have to remember, yes, we have a great loss, but don't ever forget the tremendous and very powerful words. We are HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children. At the end of the day, we have HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bonim atem Lashem. I thought it was, when I saw it in the Gemara, I was shocked, because it's mamish in today's daf, Beis Hashem on Amud Beis. We're going to get to this pasuk that was said at the same kind of tkufa, a period where people are depressed and down. What are we going to do without a gadol? He was, especially when the Litvisha and the Ashkenazi circles were lacking leadership, especially now. What do you do now? And the one thing we have to remember is achdos. Don't let different factions and different things. And Banim Atim Lashem, what are the next words? Lois is going to do. Don't break off into the groups and different things and this and that. We have to stick together. Klal Yisrael is one and one achdos. This month's sponsor for the Koil is Mr. Anonymous Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef. Parents Achoidish Shauly Rosenfeld in memory of my dear friend Yehuda Augenbaum. Parents Achoidish by the Lock Lebovic families. Lakewood as a zechus for our families. Parents Achoidish Jonathan Davydov for the Hatzlachah of Davydov families. Parents Achoidish the various friends and family refore Shlema for Yaakov Yehuda ben Gittel. And LZecher Nishmas Malka bas Avrohom HaLevi, whose Yahrzeit is today by your great nephew. So we got to Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph, 5 lines down, and we're getting ready to finish the Gemara and the Sugya on the first Mishnah of Yevamos and go into the second Mishnah. So at the end of the Mishnah it says, Keitzad poitros tzorisayim v'tzoris tzorisayim. And by the way, I'm shocked. I have to tell you, I'm shocked. Walking here, I thought there'll be 10 people in the room. Because it's the thing to do when everybody goes to the Levaya and you look in the streets and people are running and going and people slipped over in the streets and the room is full, Baruch Hashem. I think people have this commitment to the daf, to learning. They understand learning comes first, and Be'ezer Hashem will have 2-3 hours to get to Bnei Brak, and whatever happens, happens. Kol hakavod. Ketzah poitri ser sayim. Bitzar ser sayim. So, just to confuse things a little, you could go to the, it's not that confusing, just a bunch of lines here. So what's going on is, on the right side of the top we have Reuven. Reuven was married to 2 women, Leah, and the other one happens to be Shimon's daughter. Shimon is in the center. It's his daughter. Now, Reuven goes bye-bye. So the 2 women fall to Shimon. But since Shimon can't be miyabim his own daughter, Bitoy, so he cannot be miyabim the co-wife, the tzara, Leah. What happens is, Levi, with the green line, he goes and he is miyabim. He has a chiyuv to be miyabim. He could be miyabim either one. He could be miyabim Shimon's daughter with the jean jacket, or he could be miyabim Leah, the Yerushalmi. He's there like a guy, he goes and he's miyabim the Yerushalmi. Now, the Yerushalmi now becomes a tzara to the 5-town woman. But she's usher, Yerushalmi lady, don't forget, she's still usher on Shimon. But now she's a co-wife with the 5-town woman all the way to the left. Levi, as you see on the bottom left corner, he goes bye-bye. Sorry. So now these 2 women again fall to who? To Shimon. But since Shimon, you see now, you look at the bottom red line. I try to do a zigzag. This 5-town lady, start with the left corner. The 5-town lady, here, let me get a laser here. This 5-town lady, the line goes like this. She's a tzara to Yerushalmi, who happens to be a tzara to the daughter, and the daughter is also to Shimon. So that is called a tzaras tzara. She's the co-wife of the erva. Tzaras tzara to the bas. That's a tzaras tzara. And it goes on forever. In other words, if 5-town lady was nisyabim to Yehuda, and Yehuda has another wife called Zilpah, and then Yehuda dies, so now his 2 wives, the 5-towner and Zilpah, fall again to Shimon. But since Shimon is also in the 5-town woman because she's also to Leah, who's also to the Bas, so he's also also to Zilpah. And it keeps on going on and on and on. But how do we know this ideal? Shkoyach Shleimi, 1 of 10 of these that he custom made for me. This is the most appropriate one. One of them, I'm not kidding, says Nachman Seltzer. So I should remember Nachman Seltzer as I'm learning. I'll show it to you.
You didn't feel that was appropriate?
I didn't think you would think it's appropriate. I thought it was appropriate. I didn't think you would. I didn't want to embarrass you. No lights on us now, please. So we're familiar with this pasuk. Litzroyer. So Atoyer Ripso Tzara is Harbe, because it's a Latzur. Litzroyer means that a tzara creates another tzara, which creates another tzara. Like somebody said very appropriately, it's not like Tum and Tahara that it goes from a Rishon to a Sheni and keeps on dropping power. Over here, the power is strong as can be from the beginning to end. So a tzara makes another tzara and she's 100% power. That second tzara goes and marries another brother, she creates another whole matzav. They're all hundreds. Ravashi Omar Svari. It's logic. The tzara who is together with, if we go back to this chart, she's together, the bas is together with Leah. The tzara is together with the bas, and the bas is together with the tzara. The b'makim erva kaima, she's together with the bas, with the erva. So Memela, she became also an erva. What happened there? If we think about a little deeper, the bas is now, not only is she a bas, but she cannot be misyabim, so she's a shesach. The same thing, the tzara who can't be misyabim to Shimon, she has a isser of a shesach to Shimon. So she's a real erva. She remains the brother's wife to Shimon. Now that we take this Leah lady, and she's married to Levi, so now she becomes the erva, and the tzara Sarah, the 5-town woman, becomes b'makom. She's together with an erva, and she becomes an erva herself. So, if one of these people, these 15 that we're talking about, so let's say the daughter dies. Okay, the daughter dies. So her tzara now is available to Shimon. So let's see how it works exactly. When exactly does she die? When exactly are they married? Says the Gemara of Afilu Konas Ulabasoiv Gerish. So let's talk about Achois Isha, because that's where the whole parsha is, and we're not always talking about all the cases. So we have like this: we have two brothers. In this case, we have 3 Baldwin brothers. 2 of them are married to 2 sisters on the left, and Reuben is married to a non-sister. So the Gemara wants to know if there's a special order in the way it happened, and we'll explain. So if we look at the chart before we see inside, it tells you where the steps happen. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not in order like you would think they are. Step number 1 is that Shimon in the center, he divorced his wife who happens to be a sister, right? You have 2 sisters married to 2 brothers. Shimon and Levi are brothers. Rachel and Leah are sisters. 2 Yerushalmi ladies and 2 Baldwin brothers. Reuven on the side is a different story. So, it depends. In this, we're going to switch it around. But this story happens to be that Shimon divorces his wife first. And then, step 2 is that Reuven goes bye-bye. So, Reuven's wife falls to Shimon. Okay. Now, step 3 is that Shimon was miyabim her. Step 4 is that Shimon goes bye-bye. What's the problem? The problem is that the woman that he was miyabim, the one with the check mark, he was miyabim. The one with the X, I just put an X there because he got rid of her. She's divorced. So when he was miyabim, the Sephardi lady, Mazal. Who? Mazal, that's her name. Okay, why? That's what you decided. Mazal. Okay, Mazal. Mazal. So, you got to take care of that. Mazal. Okay. That also. So, Mazal is married now to Shimon, who used to be married to Levi's wife's sister. Yeah? Levi cannot be married to 2 sisters. If Shimon didn't divorce his wife and Shimon goes bye-bye, so Shimon's wife cannot fall to Levi, because then he's going to be married to 2 sisters. He can't be married. But he already got rid of the wife before he died. And now he married a Sephardi lady. The shaila is this Sephardi lady considered a tzara of Achois Isha? They were never together. Okay. So in the Bryce it says, Dafka in this case, it's okay, and Levi could go ahead and be miyabe mazal. Yeah? Let's see inside. Shloisha Achim is 3 brothers. 2 are married, 2 sisters. Reuven on the right is married to somebody not related. So Shimon in the center divorces with the ex, one of the 2 sisters. And Reuven on the right, he goes bye-bye. And Shimon does what he's supposed to do. He's miyabem mazal v'meis. And then, it's not such good mazel to marry mazal. 2 people already died from it. Zui, sha'amru. And this is the case. She'amru, she'meisu, and his garishu tzar say mutaris. This is the case that because Shimon divorced Rachel before the whole situation happened, by the time he got Mazal, there was no relation between Rachel and Mazal. They were never together in the same marriage. So therefore, Mazal keeps on going on to the third husband. See if she could kill Levi as well. Fine. Taima, but it seems like very bad for us. Taima the Gerash v'achgach kanas. It seems like only because step one happened first, that he got rid of one of the sisters. What if Shimon was married to Mazal and Rachel at the same time? Then he wouldn't be able, and then he got divorced from Rachel. What if then he got divorced from Rachel? By the time Shimon goes bye-bye, he's not married to Rachel. So Levi could say, hey, I have a clean slate here. All I have is Mazal. No. But there was a point in time when they were a co-wife. They were co-wives. Seems like that's not good. From our mission, it seems like what? Doesn't matter when. Afilu konas l'b'sayv gir, says the Gemara. Even if they were co-wives for 20 years. But as long as Shimon divorces the erva, the achois isha, the Rachel, by the time he goes bye-bye, then it's okay. But over here it says it's not okay. It says, Gemara, you're right, Tavra, it's broken. Misha shana zu, l'shana zu. You're right, it's a problem. Hi, Tana Sovar, and it's a beautiful shaila here. It's very, very important. It's to understand how it works. What's the mechanism? Hi, Tana Sovar, misuma peles. Our Tan of the Mishnah holds that we look at the time of the death. What happened to Shimon at the moment that he goes bye-bye? Was he married to Rachel or not married to Rachel? If at that moment he's not married to Rachel, then it's okay. Then Levi could be miyabim Mazal, because they're not co-wives at the time of death. It doesn't matter that they were co-wives, our Mishnah holds, at one point in time. It matters what happens now. But the Brisa holds, not true. If they were co-wives at any given time, in 2002 they were co-wives, then they're co-wives forever, and Levi cannot be miyabim Mazal. Because once upon a time, 20 years ago, she was a co-wife together with the Rachel, who happens to be Levi's wife's sister, and they're both pater. Rava Maloilam Chatanu, no machlokes, says Rava. V'zu v'entzarch le'mezu katani. First, we say the biggest chiddush, that what? That even if they were co-wives at a point of time, and then the husband dies, Levi could be miyabim Mazal, because before he died, he got divorced from Rachel. And then he says another thing that it's not even a chiddush. It's not such a chiddush that he divorced her and then he married Mazal, that they were never co-wives together. It's not a chiddush? Okay, sometimes the Gemara does it. It tells us things that are not such a big chiddush. And finally, the last piece of the Mishnah. It says all the way at the end of the Mishnah, Daf Beis and Beis. Remember that Mishnah? Wow, what a way to start Yevamos. Coming into new Masechta, it's such an easy Masechta. It was probably the toughest day. Because we went through all the 15 cases, and we didn't know what a tzara was. We didn't know what a tzara was. We didn't know what miyun is. Maybe we knew what miyun was, but whatever. And maybe we knew what tzara, remember from yeshiva tzara, but it was a confusing day. And the cartoons, one was Kalman, one was Zalman, it was not Reuven and Shimon, it was a Baya. Baruch Hashem, we're past that. And if the girl could do miyun, as we had the whole sugi yesterday, what's miyun? The brother marries off his sister. Why? Because he doesn't want her to be crazy and run around the streets when she doesn't have a father. So he goes ahead and he marries her off, kiddushin d'Rabbanan. It's such a weak kiddushin. It's only a d'Rabbanan kiddushin that she could just say a few words, and she removes the entire. She was never married to this guy. It's as if she was never married. Says the Gemara, what's the problem? Why can't you just do miyun right now? Says the Gemara, so yesterday we also learned a new musug that we weren't so familiar with, the idea of maimer. Maimer is kiddushin d'Rabbanan also, and specifically in our case, in the case of Yibum. Chacham instituted that before a person is miyabim his yevama, he should give her he should pretend that he's getting married in a normal fashion, not just, yibum, straight to yibum. He gives her money. But if there's a bunch of brothers, and one of the brothers gives her kiddushin, so now it kind of, midrabanan, removes the zika. I don't know if it removes the zika, but now she is going to marry this guy and only this guy, the guy that gave her the money. The other brother should stay away from her. But the Raisa, it doesn't do anything. But midrabanan, they said, she is now only zakuk to the guy that gave the money, to Shimon or whoever it is. Says the Gemara, but this mimer only helps, this miyun only helps the mimer. Talking about two words here that are similar. Miyun means that she refuses her husband, she says a few words and she's divorced, or she's out of there. Mimer means that one of the brothers gave money to be Mekadesh. The miyun could only work against that money. What does it help? That the brother who gave her the money doesn't have to give her a get. Give her chalitz and that's it. You don't have to give a get for the mimer. But in other words, this Rabbi Yishaya holds that the miyun at this point is not strong enough to remove the first marriage and annul it completely. So therefore, we don't tell it to be mine now. There's no point in it. Says Gemara Law, we're not going with Rabbi Yishaya. So Serva Shani. Rabbanan were geyser here that people shouldn't treat a tzara lightly and say, oh look, he could be miyam the tzara. But he was married 5 minutes ago to two women, and one of them was his daughter. Yeah, but she's not really his daughter, she's not really a Yevama because she said a few words and she annulled the whole thing. So people are not going to realize what happened there. They're not going to realize that there was a miyun, and they're going to think, oh, the reason why Shimon is being miyabim the tzara is because you're allowed to be miyabim the tzara. Like Bishamai hold. We're going to see in a second. There's a machlokes whether you're allowed to be miyabim. We know that you can't be miyabim the tzara because we learned in the first mission, that's Shitas Beis. Again, a daughter and a co-wife fall to somebody, so the Gemara asks, let her do, what's the problem? Let's be making shem la'achiv with the tzara. There's a daughter here who's an erva, but she's only 11 years old. Let her say hocus pocus, I'm out of here, and she's out of there. It could work, but it's a problem. People will see and it'll look fishy and people get confused for the next case. So don't do it. Says the Gemara, the Torah of Cheskel, Miano Babal, we had this Gemara last night, Miano Babal, Mutar Slaviv. Again, it's always usher to marry your daughter-in-law. A daughter-in-law can't marry her father-in-law. But if this young girl, this 11-year-old, is married to a son, and she says, I don't want to be married to you, so it's as if she was never married to the son, so she could marry her father-in-law. That whole chasana, there's wedding pictures, everything, he was the father-in-law. But now, halachically, he's not the father-in-law, because she did miyun, and it annulled the kiddushin to the son. However, miyana b'yavam. But if she already fell to yibum, to the yavam, and she did miyun afterwards, what did I say? Did I say the right word? If she fell liyibum to the yavam, and she did miyun afterwards, asur laviv, then it's asur to marry the father-in-law. But halachically, it should be okay to marry the father-in-law. Why is it asur? It's only because it looks bad. It looks like chametz. Like those guys in the hotel told me. It looks like chametz. I'm not going to eat the pizza. We're going to eat chametz, but we're not going to eat gebrox because it looks like whatever. Fine. It looks bad. So we have the same problem. When people start seeing things, they see this that Yibum worked, and this girl felt her own father. For them to start putting one and one together, that there's a concept called miyun, and you can annul it and make it as if it never happened, they're not going to go so far. And they're going to see that the father went ahead and married the co-wife, the tzara, and they're going to think that's mutter in a different case as well. So we say, don't do it. The official Mishnah, we're not going to Thomas' brother? No. Refuah Shlema for Braina Bas Yenta Dvaira. All right, here we go. Brand new Mishnah. Sheish arayis chamuris meilu. So the first Mishnah listed 15 arayis. Oh wow. Notice, the Levaya is at 12 o'clock, not at 11 o'clock. You see? We do the right thing. We got another hour to go there. We'll be home by 11 o'clock at night, I guarantee you. Sheish arayis chamuris me'elu. So we learned, there's 21 arayis. 15 of them fit into the first Mishnah. These 6 fit into this Mishnah. Why? Because the ones in the first Mishnah are all arayas that have to do with the Yavam. They're related to the Yavam. For instance, the Yavam's daughter. Well, the Yavam's daughter is not also to the Yavam's brothers. The uncle's allowed to marry a niece. So it's his problem. And if one of the uncles married the niece and he died and his own daughter falls to him, that's where the problems occur. That's the whole first Mishnah. These 6 have nothing to do with the Yavam. They're not related to the Yavam specifically. They're related to the father. They're related to someone else. That all the Yavamim have the same Isser, the exact same Isser. So it's impossible. These 6 are impossible to fall liyibum. Who are they? Sheish arayis chamuros meilu. As we explained before, they're not more chamer. In terms of Isser, they're exactly the same as the 15. It just means that in this case, they cannot be married. They can't be a Yevama. They can't fall Yibum. Mipnei, and the Mishnah explains, Shenesuas LZecher. They could only marry other people. They cannot marry, halachically, any of the brothers. And that's why, Tzaraseyim Mutaris. Let's see if I have the picture here. Oh, so there's an older picture. As you see, here you have a plumber from Muncie who's married to 2 women, unrelated to Shimon who's standing on the left. They're married to 2 women. Now, one of the women happens to be Shimon's mother. But the plumber goes bye-bye. So now Shimon can marry the co-wife of his mother. Because the only time that Sarah, the Berker lady, becomes Asa to Shimon is if the 2 of them fell Yibum. But over here is not a Yibum situation because the plumber is not related to Shimon. So when the plumber dies, his wives don't fall Yibum. Now Shimon wants to marry the Berker lady. He could marry her. The Berker lady and his own mother were once upon a time co-wives. That's not a problem. Tzaraseyim Mutar, says the Mishnah. Mipnei shenesuas LZecher. They're married to the plumber. Tzaraseyim Mutaris. You're allowed to marry the co-wife, the Berker lady. Who are these people? Imoy. Boom. Here's the case. I didn't have to do anything. I just copied and pasted. We did this case already once. His own mother falls to him. Now, what's the thing here? His mother, Yibum only occurs with brothers that are from a father, paternal brothers. So who's this mother? This mother is just as related to Shimon as she's related to the other brothers. If anything, she's the father's wife or the father's ex-wife. All the brothers are also to marry her. So it's impossible for Shimon's brother Reuven, let's say, to marry the mother. The only time right? So it'll never happen a situation where his own mother falls to him Yibum. We had his own sister because Shimon, Reuven, the brother, can marry his daughter. But did I say sister? His daughter. But it's impossible, Reuven, the brother, to marry his mother because she's related to Reuven also. It's Reuven's father's wife. Ve'eshes aviv. So one is anusa, one is not. V'achos aviv. And an aunt. You cannot marry your father's sister. Now, it's Shimon's father's sister and it's Reuven's father's sister because a Yavam is always from a father. So we share the same father. If we share the same father, we share the same aunt. How do you say it in English? In England, how do you say aunt? Aunt. We share the same aunt. Fine. A few people told me, like Sfardim / I don't know, Mizrachniks, can't listen to Yeshir. You have the wrong Havar. I'm not listening to Yeshir. So what do English guys do? They have no choice. Aunt. Ooh. But the other guys are not smart. Fine. Lois is going to do. You just knocked out the whole. So I say mutaris imoy ve'shisaviv v'achaysaviv. So the wife of the father, the aunt, achoy soy me aviv, a sister from his father, which means all his brothers have the same sister. Ve'eshes achi aviv, his father's sister-in-law, which is all the brothers' sister-in-law, father's sister-in-law. Ve'eshes achiv me aviv, and the sister-in-law from his father's side. B'kitzur, all the brothers are related to the same woman, the same way that he's related, so they can never fault him leibum. The only thing that could happen is they marry, like in this picture over here, they marry a friend, the guy, a ishzar, somebody unrelated, and so then you are allowed to marry the tzara. Now here comes the bomb. Beishamai matirin hatzaris lachim. Everything we know until now, they argue on. They say that if, what's the case? I don't have a. Okay, here. Tzaras bita. Go back to this case. Here. Tzaras bita. If Shimon's daughter is married to Shimon's brother Reuven, and Reuven goes bye-bye, and Reuven also had another wife, so we said Leah is usher to Shimon also. Since the daughter doesn't fall to Shimon because it's his own daughter, so too her co-wife Leah. Bisham say no, not true. Shimon could perform yibum on Leah. That's what he says. That's what they say. Bishamai matir and tzorz lach. Ubeis Hillel oisrim. And now we turn to Daf Yomi Amud Beis. Cholzu. Now, according to Bishamai, where there is yibum in this case, Shimon should perform yibum on Leah, and he went ahead. He didn't want to do yibum. He did chalitza. What happens? It's a perfect chalitza. So if it's a good chalitza, she becomes pasal min hakuna. But according to Beis Hillel machshirim. Beis Hillel hold there's no need to do chalitza. He did chalitza just like I did chalitza to a monkey. Nothing happens. She's not. If a woman doesn't need chalitza, you perform chalitza, nothing happens to her. It's like a play in a movie, whatever. Stop messing around doing chalitza, pretending to do chalitza. There's no zikah, there's nothing. Beis Hillel machshir. Nisiyabmu, and what about, according to Beis Shammai, Shimon goes ahead and actually is miyabim Leah? Beis Shammai machshirim. She's perfect. But according to Beis Hillel, what is she? According to Beis Hillel, what is Leah? An Eishes Ach. She's mamish and erva. She's a tzara of the daughter. Just like the daughter, you can't be miyabim, you can't be miyabim tzara. And if you are miyabim tzara, what are you over on? It's a chorus. So therefore, it was still paislan. Mamish psul. And what happens if they have a kid together? Mamzer. Mamish and mamzer. Ava bishelu oisrim velu matirim. Even though Beis Shammai say marry her, the kid is not a mamzer. Beis Hillel say don't marry her. And if you marry, you have a child. Not only are you not making shem lachav, but you produce the mamzer. Lenimnu Beis Shammai milisa noshim Beis Hillel uBeis Hillel meBeis Shammai. Unbelievable. You hear the respect? Not like you would want to think that, Leman HaShalom, I'm going to marry Mamzerim. But as the Gemara is going to explain, that Beis Shammai notified Beis Hillel. You guys don't want to mess with this family. This family had a yibum once upon a time. There's a few Mamzerim in there, according to you. Don't go shiduchim over there. But over here, you can marry. Which is also a chiddush, because many times, if I hold that this is 100% mutter, you and your chumras, jump in the lake. I'll tell you that it's kosher. My Rav came and kosher. I'm going to give you a treif because my Rav said it's 100% good. Sometimes that happens. No. I understand that you have a certain way of living and you go with this halacha. I respect it. And I'm going to tell you all the problems here. For instance, many times in Shas, what's tar, what's tameh? Nevertheless, Beis Shammai notified Beis Hillel notified Beis Shammai. By the way, there's a major problem with Beis Shammai also. It's not just the mamzerim according to Beis Hillel. According to Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai say the Yevamos should be miyabim this tzara. And what happens? Child is a mamzer. What about reverse? Beis Hillel say, don't be miyabim. Does Beis Shammai have a problem with that? Absolutely. Because according to Beis Hillel, she's an erva. So she should just go marry anybody she wants. The daughter doesn't need chalitza. She's Shimon's daughter. There's no zika. There's nothing. Go get married. What about the tzara? Also, she's a tzara of an erva. She could just get married. So here you have a woman who got married without chalitza. According to Bishami, it's a big no-no. You need chalitza. You got to get a divorce. You got to get something. Nevertheless, they married each other. Yeah? No, I have to say it even though it's probably not so appropriate, but why? I can't control myself. A guy told me that he won't come to the shir because I don't say Misher Berech L'Chayalim. So that's all that was going in my mind there. Like this, the Chazanish, this, I name you 20 G'daylim that said don't, and he has his G'daylim. I get it, but respect. Just because I don't do exactly like you want me to do, so that's why you can't learn Torah. That's what it says over here. We have our halachas, you have your halachas, but at least there's respect. Omer Reb Shimon ben Pazi. My time of the Bishamai. D'chsiv loisia eishes hameis hachutza lishzar. Take a look at this drawing over here. The pasuk says hachutza. So Bishamai learn literally hachutza. There's an inner and an outer. The inner one, meaning the close one to you. She's close to you. She's inner. She's your daughter, let's say. The outer one is the daughter's co-wife, not as related to you. And what does the Torah say about that? The outer one, lishzar. Don't let the outer one, the tzara, just leave without a chalitza, without a yibum. You have to be miyabim her. Chutza miklal dike penimas. He darshans. If there's an outer one, that means there's an inner one. So that's how Bishami learned this diagram. Right? It makes it a little simpler, I think. Sponsor. Sponsored. There's two of them? Yeah. By Moshe Horn in honor of Shmuley Sugar, the original sugarshaker. And sponsored in honor of Ed Kinsbursky, Brian Kinsbursky, and Ari Miller for learning the Daf.
No. You changed it. You weren't here yesterday. It's okay.
Yeah. That's why it's over here. It's new. I didn't have a chance to print it yet. Okay. How do you know it? What are we supposed to say?
Moshe Kinsbursky.
Right, but it's changed. In honor of Ed Kinsbursky, Brian Kinsbursky, and Ari Miller, he gets free. Tomorrow I'm not going to say it. We just said it twice now. Zog the Gemara. So what's Beis Hillel going to do with the Sachutza? This is an amazing halacha, Rabbi Sai. We touched upon this. What if we had the sugya of Machzik Rushasai? You divorce a woman, she gets married to a plumber, and then he divorces her, dies. Are you allowed to marry her? No way. And then you went ahead and you married her. What happens? Is it a good kedushin? Is it chal? Yes, it's chal. The chiddush over here is it's not even chal. It's zero. When it comes to yibum, you have a Yevamos who's zakuk to the yavam. She has to do yibum, and some random guy off the street comes ahead and is mekadesh her. Zero. It's not like he was mekadesh a grusha. This is nothing. The kedushin is not chal to a stranger. It doesn't say she should marry if she went outside to get married. It doesn't make sense the way you're learning it, that it's referring to the kedushin outside, lichutz, to a stranger. Yes, it does say lichutz, says Basil. Why? The Sanya Ibn that's how you write stuff. If you want to say lichutz, you can write chutza with a hey at the end. If there's a hey at the end, it's the same thing as a lam in the beginning. You don't need, it's one or the other. It's not like Reb Shmuel. You're going elim, elima. They put a hey at the end. It's le'elim. He's going le'elim. Machanayim, machanayim, mitzrayim, mitzrayim, le'v'sayim, Yerushalayim. How do you say? I'm going li-Yerushalayim, or I could write Yerushalayim with a hey at the end. Midbara. Or Beishamai. Davydov Amar Rab Minalo. How do I know that kiddushin from a stranger is not chal at all? Milish zar nafka. It says milish zar at the end of the pasuk. You're right. Okay, great. So now we have to take it back a little bit. There, Maskim the Bishamai, we learn from Lish Zar, not from Chutza. So then, what do we do with Chutza? Chutza, Lamali, L'Rabbeis Harusa. Very good. If a person does Erusin, he's Mekadesh, gives her a ring, And in those days, they would wait a whole year. He'd go to yeshiva, learn. She would turn, she's 10 years old now. She has to become at least 11, whatever it is. She has time to get married. So they do Erisin, and then there's Nisuin. And then the guy that did Erisin dies. Yibum and no Yibum. Are you thinking about it, huh? Yibum. We do Yibum. That's what it says here. Chutza. The rabbi's harusa. In other words, she's a little bit of an outsider. She's not 100% his. Requires Yibum. Amazing halacha. V'edach. But that's a given halacha. Mechutza hachutza. There's an extra hey there. That's how I learn it. V'edach chutza hachutza le'mashmalu. I don't darshan the extra hey. Rav Amar Tamay de Bishamai Deinis Rechala Lisser. Yeah, like my friend. He came to me. He was all excited. Rahman al-Islam. My Zeshaya, the first part at least, comes to me for Shabbos. I saw him walking down the block. I opened up the door, and him and his wife, they go, "You're not going to believe it, Eli. We ate Chazer Yom Kippur this year." So what I should have told them is, "What are you so excited? Ein Isser Chal Isser. Yay Chazer. Chazer came first. That's the Isser. The fact that you ate on Yom Kippur, you didn't add anything. There's nothing. You don't get two. You only get one. Ein Isser Chal Isser, according to this man Davar." So here also, what happened? So let's talk about Achoy Sisha for a second. So we have Achoy Sisha. If you look over here, this is also, we had this. Achoy Sisha.
The rest of the story.
Nothing.
That's it.
Yeah, he was my best friend.
You told me that guy.
Yeah, Mamish, my best friend, and had a very, very rough life.
Isn't Yom Kippur an Esser Kola?
Whatever, just to get him mad, just to upset. You're trying to upset me that you're Chazer and Kippur and that. You wasted your time. Same Chazer that you could eat on. Let him argue it. Then he'll start becoming lamdish. Maybe he'll come on the derech. Zok the Gemara. So over here, what happened was you have two brothers married to two sisters. But what happened first? The Isser of Eshesach. In other words, when we're looking at Shimon and Rachel. I don't have the labels. This is the old chart. So, wow, they're dressed the same also. Oh, actually no. That's the Zara bag. Okay. So this is an old chart. We gotta update it. This is literally like a week already. So this woman, the Eshesach, when did she become an Eshesach first or a Chaysisha first? Nafkamina. Was step one, Reuven married her, so therefore Shimon automatically zassed her because she's a brother's wife? Or no, Shimon married the sister first, so Reuven's future wife was a Chaysisha first, and only after Reuven married her did she become a Eshesach. Which sister came first? Says the Gemara. So, what's going on here is that Rav is saying that the Achois Isha came second. The erva of Achois Isha, what happened was Reuven goes bye-bye like in the picture. So, Shimon's wife's sister falls to him liibum. Well, she's not a wife's sister. You know why? Because it's like Yom Kippur on top of Chazer. It came second. First is the Eshesach. Reuven was married to Rachel first. So it's Eshesach. When Reuven dies, the Eshesach is removed. So when the Eshesach is removed, he doesn't have Eshesach. He doesn't have a Chosisha anymore. Well, okay. We'll talk about it later. Look, there's Taisus here that Taisus has a kasha. Sarah, not Sarah. She herself should become mutter to him. Says Taisus, no. Once you remove, you're right. Once you remove that Isser, then the other Isser falls in. Okay, fine. We'll talk about it later. Little Taisus, the Ramaskel, the Loyasa Isser Achoisisha. Look over there. Look at Veyesh Lema. Fine. What are you going to do if Shimon, in this, it's the same exact slide, but the numbers change. Look over here. Boom. If first Achois Isha happened. Shimon married Zara lady, and then afterwards Reuven married Rachel, the original Yerushalmi lady. So Achois Isha was number one. So the erva that we're trying to get rid of is number one. And then came Achois Isha. What do? Achois Isha Kadim? Says the Gemara, Kivin the Isha Ishasach. B'chayil Isha Achois Isha. You're right. Okay, so Ishasach is not on top of Achois Isha. Havelo Soras Erva Shaloi B'mokim Mitzvah. Okay, Enochanami V'Sharia. So because what's everybody doing here? You guys not going to Levaya? Sorry. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know this. So at the end of the day, because the Eishes Ach, Kivin the Loyasi is the Eishes Ach, the Chayil is Ach Isha, have the Tzaras Erva Shaloi B'Makim Mitzvah. So Memela, she becomes a Tzaras Erva. She didn't fall Liibim over there, and Sharia is mutter. Let's just finish this over here. One sugya. Pshita, according to Beis Shammai, since you must do chalitza and you do chalitza, you become puzzle tekuna. Now I would think that according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, let's institute a takana. Let's just give everybody chalitza and finished. But once you're giving everybody chalitza, what happens is they all become pasal midrabanan, because now you're mechayiv them in chalitza. Mechayiv in chalitza, even according to Basil, they should become pasal. Kumas merlan, the Basil machshirim. That's what I want to tell you. I want to tell you that even though there's a Rabbi Yochanan who says you should do chalitza, let's just do a little bit more. No? What? Yeah, but all these people came to daven. No, let's do this because it has to do with today with the Levaya. 3 minutes here. Why do you have to say another case of Yibum? We know, obviously, if you're mechuyev in Yibum according to Bishamai, then Yim Yabim, according to Bishamai, not posel. Either Tana Chotzu, Tana Namin Nisyabu, it's just Agav Milsa. Not awesome. We learned the Zechus Megillah Rabbi Yisai. Megillah Nikris Bachada So B'Shnei So B'Shloisha So B'Abba So B'Chamisha Azar Leipachos V'Lo Yoiser. So first of all, that's why I want to read it right now, because what's the Leipachos V'Lo Yoiser? You don't read the Megillah on the 16th and the 17th. Today is the 17th. So stop. You don't read the Megillah then. Ikri Khan Lois is Goidedu. Unbelievable. Lois is Goidedu. And this, Rabbi Yisai, is the pasuk that they said about the Chofetz Chaim. Don't forget, we're all B'tzar, but we're still HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children. But don't forget either, Lois is Goidedu. Don't make different factions in Klal Yisrael. Let's go. Says Gemara, that you can't cut yourself. I think I mentioned once, I saw with my own eyes when I was a child, a kid got killed by a car, and his mother at a tsar started ripping her skin, which is the Issa D'Oraisa. So how can you learn from the words, don't make factions, when it in fact means don't cut yourself? Fine, we'll stop over here in the middle of a sugya. Rabbi Yisai, Psuras Toivois, have a wonderful day.